Hey guys, Ricky Robertson here from Lee Junior High. Most everybody I know calls me Coach Rob, but I'm here today to talk with you a little bit about European explorers in what is now Louisiana. Today's standard that we're going to discuss is Standard 2, Key Events, Ideas, and People. Students will analyze how the contributions of key events, ideas, and people influence the development of modern Louisiana. Standard 8.2.1 says you'll describe the contributions of explorers and early settlement groups to the development of Louisiana. And then a secondary standard we'll look at focuses on conducting historical research, evaluating a broad variety of primary and secondary sources. So this takes us to a question: why Louisiana? Why would these explorers from Europe want to come to a place such as Louisiana? One that you see on the board, possibly religious reasons. Maybe military reasons. Is it a strategic location on the globe? Access to the interior of North America. Maybe these are reasons why. We'll discuss these things further as we go along. This is a map showing what was at the time Florida. It was an unexplored area. And I just ask you the question, does anything on this map give you reason to want to come to what's going to be Louisiana in here? The first European explorer that we'll talk about is Hernando de Soto. This guy was from Spain. Started exploring at about the age of 14. His true date of birth isn't really known, so they estimate this. He was born between 1495 and 1500. So he could have been exploring at 14, he could have been exploring at 19, but the estimated age was 14. Some of you guys aren't much older than that. So imagine going out exploring on the wide open ocean in unknown areas on a boat that you don't know anything about. Later in life, at age 32, he was second in charge of Pizarro's conquest in Peru. Now, what these European explorers were doing at this time was going out in pursuit of God, glory, and gold. And when we say God, glory, and gold, we mean they were out trying to spread the word of God to people in unknown places. They were looking for glory in doing things such as spreading the word. They were looking for building empires, and then they were looking for gold. Precious metals such as silver and gold that they were hoping to find. After becoming very rich in Peru with Pizarro, finding masses of gold, it's said that he came back to Peru, he came back from Peru with over 18,000 ounces of gold. De Soto set out after this on his own. And in 1539, he discovered the Mississippi River. Came around Florida and found the Mississippi River. Just 3 short years later, he would pass away somewhere near what is now Faraday, on the banks of the Mississippi River. And no other European would see the Mississippi River for 130 more years. So what our task is today, as you remember, we talked about in the standards, we were looking at primary and secondary sources. So today we're going to analyze a photograph. But in reality, it's not going to be a photograph. In the times of these European explorers, they didn't have cell phones, and they didn't have Polaroid cameras, and they didn't have ways to take selfies when they found someplace exciting that they wanted to take a picture of and send home. So what they did was they had somebody paint for them. They did a painting, and then that would be mass produced. Not by a copy machine or a printer on your computer. We're talking about the 15, 16, 1700s. So they had to do what's called an engraving, where a guy would cut out a piece of metal or wood. He'd cut out whatever the painting was, and then they would recreate that painting and then mass produce it. So, as I said, we're going to analyze this photograph, which is actually a painting. So, our first question at the top says, quickly scan the photo. What do you notice first? So, looking at this photograph or this painting, what do you notice about it first of all? I've talked to some people. Some people said they noticed the banner first. Somebody said they noticed this guy sitting next to De Soto. I personally saw this guy holding a sword. That's the first thing I noticed, a guy in the middle holding a sword. So that's what I wrote in my space, a man holding a sword. The next question says, what type of photo is this? And you can check all that apply. First one asks, is this a portrait? Technically speaking, it's probably not, but it does have somebody in the center, so I'm going with a portrait. Is an event? I say yes, it's an event. It's De Soto on the shore of the Mississippi. I'm saying that yes, it's showing him something's happening. There are people in the picture with him. Is it a documentary? I don't think so. Landscape, family, selfie, aerial, satellite picture, panoramic, action, posed. None of these other things really match with this. The next question asks, is there a caption? I didn't fill this in because it's down here at the bottom. Yes, there is a caption, but I didn't check that off. But next it says, observe the parts. Observe its parts. So the first column says people. Now what I want you to do is look at this picture and list 3 people that you see. 3 people that you see in this picture. The first person that I see is what I'm going with as Hernando de Soto, right in the middle. That's the guy holding the sword. Looks like he may be putting it back in the sheath. He's holding it from the opposite end. I know it looks kind of peculiar, but hey, Hernando de Soto is in the middle of the picture. Other people that I see, I'm saying 3 unknown men. I don't know these guys. I don't know who they are, what they are, but I'm saying 3 unknown men. And then I'm going to say this native lady with her 2 children. Looks like a native woman. And I'm guesstimating here because she's got brown hair and it looks like she's got clothing that might be associated with Native Americans. So the next column asks for objects. And I've clicked on this already, so we're going to go with it. Swords. I want you to write 2 other things that you see in the picture. Other than the swords, 1 sword here, 1 sword there. What else do you see in the picture? I'm going with a banner. This guy right next to De Soto is holding up some sort of banner. I can't really see what's on it, but he's got a banner on a pole. And then I see in the background over here a wooden cross. Is that symbolic? That's a term that you might hear in English class. I'd say it's probably symbolic, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Activities, you see the men in the background lifting the cross. You see the woman kneeling by De Soto. Again, is that symbolic? We can discuss that in a little bit. And then a man in white sitting by De Soto. Again, something else that could be symbolic in this picture. Next, we're going to go down and say, write 1 sentence summarizing the photo. Didn't write my summary, but who took this photo? Again, we said this is not an actual photograph. It is a painting. And so the artist is H.L. Stevens, and then the engraver, like we talked about, is Augustus Robin. Now, these guys work together on this. Where is it from? According to our caption, it's from the shore of the Mississippi River. After doing some research, you might see that De Soto is said to have landed on the west side of the Mississippi. So when is it from? That's the interesting part. H.L. Stevens and Augustus Robin didn't actually live. They weren't actually there at the time that De Soto landed at the Mississippi River. These guys are actually from the 1800s. So this is what they think De Soto and his men might have looked like at that time. The event is from the 1500s, 1539, but the guys who did it are from the 1800s. So we talked about primary and secondary sources. That's a whole nother lesson. But in reality, this is actually a secondary source. It's a pretty cool painting, but it wasn't from that exact time. What was happening at the time in history that this photo was taken? Well, at 1539, when De Soto landed, countries were doing the God, glory, and gold around the globe. They were looking for God, to spread the word of God. They're looking for glory, looking for gold. So, again, the symbolism that you see here in this painting is a wooden cross in the background. Looks like some guys lifting that up. Are those men from his ship? Hey, word of God. They're lifting a cross. They're spreading the gospel. You've also got this little guy in white holding what looks like it could be a Bible. So is that the old way, and De Soto is bringing in the new? And then symbolism we also talked about with the native woman kneeling next to De Soto with a child and then a baby. So it's almost as if she's saying, here, take what's mine and teach them something new. So it's an interesting concept here. Next explorer to talk about is René Robert Cavalier Sieur de LaSalle. This word over here, this Sieur in French, Sieur is sister, but this Sieur actually means Lord, like Lord of the, and I don't know what Sal is, but everybody calls this cat LaSalle. We got LaSalle Parish, we got schools all over the country called LaSalle. So Robert LaSalle is pretty much what people call this guy. Very sophisticated gentleman, by the way. So a little bit about LaSalle. He was part of a group of Jesuits. That's a Catholic branch of the church. They were looking to spread Catholicism to people in North America. And so he tried his hand in the fur trade and moved down into what's now Illinois, Missouri, struggled. In 1670s, it was a tough business. So he got tired of trying to figure that out and made a small profit, and he decided to go out on his own, much like people do when they struggle. I'm gonna go out on my own. And so he took off in 1678 to go further down the Mississippi River to try and find more money and figure this out on his own. And so after sailing for 5 months on the Mississippi, well, what we call the Mississippi River, he eventually found the Gulf of Mexico, which amazingly enough was the end of the Mississippi River. And so once he got to the mouth of the Mississippi River, again, what we call the Mississippi, he claimed that river and named it the Colbert. Rivière de Colbert. Why Colbert? That's the dude who paid for his trip. This Colbert fella paid for LaSalle to come over to New France, and then down the river he went. So once he claimed the River Colbert, he named the land that was part of the basin, Louisiana, after King Louis XIV. So get this straight. LaSalle failed in the Illinois country, hopped in a boat, sailed down the Mississippi River, or what we call the Mississippi, named the River Colbert after the guy who paid for his trip, and then claimed the whole basin of the River Colbert after King Louis XIV. So good thinking, I guess, since that's who paid for his trip. This would be a map, the first map, to show Louisiana in North America. I thought that was pretty cool. Really have no other reason for putting it up there other than I thought it was pretty cool for you guys to see the first map of Louisiana. This is a brightly done picture, another painting of, this time it's LaSalle, laying the post and claiming Louisiana for the King of France, King Louis XIV. Next up, we have analyzed the photograph again. Whenever you guys get a chance, I'd like for you to go through and analyze that photograph on your own without me, and just kind of have an idea of how to do it on your own. You'll get another chance to do this at school, but I want you to take a little glimpse and try to do one on your own. Now, why Louisiana? We talked about it earlier. religious reasons. These guys were trying to spread the word. Catholicism was the big religion in Europe at the time. Christianity was coming in. Everybody had a different church that they were trying to get the word out about. There were military reasons. These countries were building empires around the globe. At one time it was said that Great Britain, the sun never set on the British Empire because these guys had colonies and territories in just about every time zone on the globe. So they were setting up empires around the world, and then access to the interior of North America. As we said, the French had set up trading posts with the natives in the northern part of what is now the United States and then in southern Canada. So this Louisiana offered access to all of those areas and a way to get those products that they would come up with out of the interior of North America. So the fur trading and transportation and ways to get the products out of the country. So I ask again, do these sound like good reasons to come here to Louisiana? And that's it. So again, I'm Coach Rob. If you guys have any questions or you want to get another look at this presentation, feel free to shoot me an email, richard.robertson@mcschools.net. Thanks for watching today. Hope you guys have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.